WhatCulture.com recently attended the first ever live show organised by 5 Star Wrestling at the Newcastle Arena. And while we were there, we got a chance to interview this guy.
Hi everyone, welcome to WhatCulture.com. I'm Kenny McIntosh. I'm joined by my arch nemesis, Adam Blompier.
Ding!
And I'm joined by the Darewolf himself, my friend, PJ Black. PJ, how's it going?
It's going great, guys. How are you guys doing?
We're good. But we want to talk to you about something first. Before we came on the air here, we showed you a video that's going to change your life. We showed you Hulk Hogan on a wrecking ball in a thong. We want to get your immediate thoughts.
Dude, I've been thinking about this for at least 2 minutes, and I have no words. I have nothing. I'm sorry.
Hostomania is running wild.
But you won't forget that image, and that's the important thing.
Exactly.
I will never forget that image, and that is absolutely gross.
So, kicking off the interview, Brother, you're just about to start, well, you've started in Lucha Underground. And I was just wondering, because Lucha is so different in terms of like promo style and the way they film than a lot of promotions out there. Has it been a difficult adjustment, or have you just slotted right into the sort of mythological tone?
Yeah, I just jumped right into it. You know, there's a lot of guys that I know and a lot of guys that I've worked with, especially the writers. And it's owned by a movie company, not a wrestling company. So it's like it's a wrestling show with less wrestling, I can say, and more, you know, like promos, but not in-ring promos, like vignettes. I've been filming vignettes all week, and it's been awesome, man. I cannot wait to watch season 2.
How does it compare, filming these vignettes, to filming normal promos, like in the style that you're used to? Do you find it harder or like more freeing to be working off such a tight script? Or?
It is. I mean, we have a lot of input too on the characters and stuff, which makes it easy. But the writers know exactly what they want, and like normally when they write something, I'm like, yeah, this is cool. This is me. You know, this is exactly it. And like I said, it's owned by a movie company, so everything's filmed in like a movie sense. You know, like in any other wrestling company, you'd film something once or twice and be done. Like over here, they film everything 100 times, 100 different angles, 70 frame rates per second, 120 frame rates per second. So that's something to get used to. But other than that, it's been a fun experience.
Was it quite strange for you in the sense of, you know, your last little while in WWE, you weren't really getting the opportunity to do many promos, and now you're really getting to sink your teeth into something again and getting to do these vignettes? It must be quite cool to be a part of that.
Oh, super cool. You know, like they never gave me any promo time, like you said, and then now I get to do it, and it's actually one of my passions. Like growing up as a fan, I used to love like Rock promos and Hogan promos and even Ultimate Warrior promos. They didn't make any sense, and you know, but that was the fun part of wrestling for me, and now I get to do it. So super stoked.
Of course, growing up in South Africa, you're part of a wrestling family, right? Your dad was a wrestler. Who did he book as well? He promoter? As well?
He did. He had a wrestling school where I started. He was a booker. Yeah, so I think I broke into the business when I was like 12 years old, and my dad was like, hey, I need a referee for tonight. I was like, I don't know. He goes, can you count to 3? I was like, yeah. And he was like, cool, you're in. And then I had my first match when I was like, I think 15 or 16. So yeah, I kind of grew up in the business.
And you talk about like wanting to kind of have input on your own character. So you say you like towards the end of your WWE run, they were sort of like not letting you pitch your ideas. Like, did you have ideas that you wanted to take Justin Gabriel in, like directions?
That is the most frustrating thing and the main reason why I actually quit, because like every day I came up with all these ideas, you know, like, and sometimes you get shut down and you're like, okay, cool, maybe that wasn't a good idea. But sometimes when a good idea gets shut down, like it just breaks your spirit, you know, it kind of like chips away at you. And I get all these ideas, and every week I came up with something new. Like I came up with over 100 ideas and it all got rejected. I was like, 100 ideas can't be all that bad, right?
Was there anything that you were really, really pushing, like any kind of one idea that you were super proud of that you'd like to share?
I mean, a few of those. The 2 that I can think of right now is exactly what I'm doing on the independents right now and in Lucha Underground. It's like the Daredevil gimmick. Took Werewolf, Daredevil, combined it, Darewolf. I own the rights to Darewolf now too, which is super cool. Yeah, so it's just like a Daredevil gimmick, kind of like an Evil Knievel, but kind of like a modern day Evil Knievel, like a Travis Pastrana, because I do all this stuff in real life, so it's not really a gimmick, it's like, it's who I am, you know, like I have over 600 skydives, I surf, I ride motocross, so basically all my GoPro footage I gave to Lucha. I was like, there you go, just make vignettes. And I gave the same footage to WWE, and they were going to do something with it, but, you know, like, I waited for like a year, and they didn't do anything with it, so I was like, all right, time to move on. And another idea was the bunny idea. We were going to turn we were going to make the bunny evil, kind of like, you've seen Donnie Darko, right?
Yeah.
We had the coolest freaking outfit made. It was actually made by the people that does the makeup on The Walking Dead. They used to make Kane's mask. It was super cool looking, but like Vince and Hunter was like, nah, it's not quite PG, you know, but it was gonna be so cool. And then Adam Rose was gonna do like a Marilyn Manson type of gimmick, but it was too dark for them. So maybe hopefully we could get to do that on the Indies someday. Who knows?
It's interesting as well because we're pretty much almost a year to the day that you quit WWE.
Yep.
And it strikes me that when people leave WWE, there's kind of two ways that it goes. You either sort of like fade away or you reinvent yourself. And that's kind of what you've been doing with this, you know, the Darewolf gimmick, Lucha Underground. How important to you was it when you left that you made sure to sort of stay in the limelight and to sort of reinvent yourself?
Yeah, I mean, it was one of the hardest things that I've ever done. Like walking away from that, obviously growing up, that was my dream job. That's what I wanted to do. So that's exactly the thought I had. Like when I walked away, I was like, man, it can go either way. So I kind of like, you know, sat back for the first week, kind of like thought of some ideas, and I was like, you know what, I'm just going to try and run with this and just take it over the top. And it literally has been exactly a year, and it's been the best year of my life so far.
So talking about the Nexus, obviously, is still a thing that kind of shines brightest in the WWE time. When you first came in, you were sort of put straight in the main event scene.
Yeah.
But then, as soon as you were, like on the first day, Daniel Bryan slipped up and got fired. So was that incredibly weird for you, like being under the biggest spotlight, but also essentially treading on eggshells? Was that?
It was weird because that day we got told to do anything and everything. Okay, so when that happened, we're like, wait, you guys just told us to do anything and everything. That's why later down the line, people were like, wait, maybe that was a gimmick, that was a work. And they even worked us. But we still don't know. But yeah, it was pretty cool. You know, it was a cool experience. That was probably, except for this past year, that was probably the most fun I've had in wrestling.
Oh, great. I mean, talking about like the SummerSlam, of course, like a lot of people regard that moment, beating the Nexus at SummerSlam, as a big missed opportunity and sort of the start of the Nexus, you know, not quite living up to its potential. I mean, do you feel the same?
Oh, definitely.
How far would you have taken it?
Everyone involved in that too feels the same, and the people, I'm not going to mention any names, who got that finish changed. They even came to apologize, and they said sorry. They were like, man, we should have listened to you guys. But at the time, you know, we were rookies, we were new, we didn't know how to play the game, if you will. Like, and yeah, like everyone knows it would have been different, but like it was too late. Like we couldn't come back from that, and it's a shame because like I think Nexus would have had an awesome WrestleMania moment.
And did you know, so you do SummerSlam with the Nexus, and you worked with so many kind of top names. You all beat up Vince, you all made it look like you beat up Brett as much as you could. But when you got to Raw the next day after SummerSlam, was there still a feeling within you guys that, okay, we can still make this work? Like that's not the beginning of the end of Nexus, or did you kind of realize that opportunity at SummerSlam meant, you know, this might be the end of Nexus and the beginning of something else?
Oh no, we tried really hard. Like we came up with so many ideas, and Wade Barrett, good friend of mine, had so many cool ideas, and you know, it just never happened because we couldn't build that momentum again. And I don't even remember what happened after that. I think we went straight into the core, and then, you know, we were just like, whatever, like kind of. That's why it didn't translate that well on TV, but it was definitely a learning experience, you know. Like, if never say never, but in the future, if we go back, Wade still pitches for like a Nexus, I don't know, comeback or reunion, if you will.
Well, and mentioning going back, it's a year on now. Has your relationship with the company changed? Like, do you have different relationships with Vince than you do with, say, Triple H? Or like, how is it looking a year on?
I don't know. I mean, right now, I don't want to go back, but never say never. That's something I learned from Vince. Vince is a big fan of my work. Hunter, not so much, but I can convince him. One of the conversations I had with him before I left was, I was like, hey man, I know you're not a big fan of my work, but you know, I'm gonna try prove you wrong. And he looked at me and he was like, I like people that work hard and I like people that prove me wrong. And I even went back to NXT for like a whole year, tried to work on some new stuff, and they just wouldn't let me do any of that stuff on TV, so he never got to see any of that. But I know they watch the indies, because Hunter obviously signs all the top indie talent, which is great because it just opens up all these spots for me. But I know they've been watching a lot of my matches, and I talk to the guys a lot, and you know, who knows? Like maybe another year from now, maybe I'll consider it. But
and we have to ask you one question that a lot of people have wondered. The core, with 2 R's. Now, there was a rumour that somebody had went and made a spelling mistake, and that was why it was 2 R's. Can you set the record straight why the second R was in core? Did it stand for something?
Well, tell me the story you've heard, and I'll tell you if it's true or not.
Well, I heard that somebody was to trademark it or something. They trademarked it with 2 R's, or they were to get T-shirts made. It was with 2 R's. Something to do with 2 R's instead of 1.
No, well, the story we made up, me and Wade, was we sent Heath down to the register office, and he made a spelling mistake. Because for people who don't know, Heath is the worst speller in the world. Like, driving with him in a car every 5 minutes is like, "Hey man, how do you spell this?" Like, I cannot tell you. Like, I have so many Heath stories. I need to write them down. Like, I can write a book one day.
We would love to hear his story if you've got one.
All right. So we won the tag titles the first time. So me and him used to share a room, and he's one of those guys that sleeps with the TV on. So I'd wake up, like 2, 3 a.m., switch the TV off. When we won the titles for the first time, I woke up at like 4 a.m. and switch the TV off, but I look and he's not in his bed, right? And I'm like, yeah, whatever. He comes running out from the bathroom, butt naked, wearing just the title. He's got a cigar in this hand and a hairdryer in this hand. He's like, woo!
So we have Hulk Hogan in a wrecking ball, and we have Heath Slater in the nude with his championship belt.
Yeah. 2 images we will never lose.
We'll never lose. But how can people keep on track with you on social media?
Social media at Justin__Gabriel. Still, long story. People ask me why don't I change that, but that's long story. But basically everything is on pjblack.com. My website, all my social sites are on there. You can buy some cool merch off there. I write some blogs. There's a whole bunch of stuff on there. So that's probably the easiest way, pjblack.com.
Well, we want to thank you and wish you the best of luck with Lucha Underground, 5-Star Wrestling, and everything else that you do.
Awesome. Thank you guys. Thanks for having me.
Thanks for watching. We'll see you soon.
And hey, while we have you, why not celebrate the relentless passage of time by buying WhatCulture's first ebook, The 100 Worst Wrestling Moments of 2015, written by Andrew Sosick with a foreword from me. Only £3, it's currently the ranked #1 selling wrestling book on Amazon. Check the description for a link.